Chapter 10. Astrid appeared on the wrong cloud and looked around frantically. She'd tried teleporting straight to the home cloud from the island, but miscalculated. At least she'd managed to leave the island. That was progress. She concentrated and appeared on her father's cloud, though when she got there, she knew something was wrong. The cloud was yellow and sickly looking, if a cloud could be called so. It looked worse than before. She raced into the castle and called for her father and Josh. She teleported to the tower where she'd left them and found her father on the floor, with Josh cradling his head. Josh looked up at her with tears in his eyes. "He doesn't have much time left. It's all my fault." She ran over to them. Her father's face was dry and cracked, his beard falling from his face. "Dear sweet Astrid, I'm glad I got to see you one last time. I feared I wouldn't." She took his hand. "Dad, I'm here. You'll be okay." He chuckled. "That's kind of you, but I'm afraid my time is near. Before I go into the Nexus, I must tell you something. You must take over as the nature demon." "What about Josh?" "He is not a proper nature demon. He was reborn, but not the way he should have been." He pointed to a drawer across the room. "Inside you will find a rune. You must take this rune as you pass through the core of the earth. Once on the other side, you will be reborn as a proper nature demon and will be able to take my place." He looked at Josh. "You must unlink Josh from the realm, or you will surely be leeched the same as me." "How do we unlink me?" Josh asked. "I do not know, but you must find out soon. The moment I'm gone from this world, the weather will grow hostile and become even worse as more time passes. Without a proper nature demon in place to control the elements, the world will be devastated by nature itself." "Can't I just control the elements with my power?" Astrid asked. "They will be too much for you to handle, dear one. Only with the full power of the nature demon behind you will you have any hope of gaining control." Astrid nodded as she began to cry. Josh's tears spawned from guilt, hers from love. She truly loved Nauki. She loved her father. "Goodbye, darling," Nauki said with a final breath. And then he was gone, turning to shimmering ash in Astrid's and Josh's hands. A second later, the lightning began. Astrid and Josh ran outside, watching the devastating light show around them. The lightning was non-stop, the thunder deafening. Astrid wiped her tears away and examined the rune in her hand. It was the size of a cell phone and dark gray, with an infinity symbol carved in its center. "What do we do?" Josh yelled over the noise. "What did you learn in the Nexus?" "They told me I have to give my life to something that also gives life, or something like that. It has something to do with me being a life taker. I can only give my energy to something that's the opposite of me." Astrid shook her head. "I have no idea what that means, but I have to do something about this lightning. Look!" She pointed to the city below. Lightning struck the tallest buildings. The people in the streets ran for cover. "You can't become a nature demon until I'm gone," Josh yelled, grabbing her arm. "I have to. We'll figure it out after I get back." "Back from where?" She held up the rune. "Back from the core of the earth." She smiled reassuringly. Then she jumped off the home cloud, straight toward the ground. She hadn't even taken a moment to think about what she was going to do. She just did it. She shot straight for the hard ground like a bullet, closing her eyes. She resisted the urge to fly back to safety. Clutching the rune painfully to her chest, she waited for the impact to come. It never did. She opened her eyes and saw she was still falling, though she was traveling through the earth. She was reminded of the few times she'd traveled through the ice to the giant's realm using the ice lift. Astrid continued onward, soon passing crystals and fire. She didn't feel the heat, but she knew she would never forget what she saw when she reached the core. The sight was magnificent. Soon she was past it and traveling back toward the surface, feet first. She kept looking up, toward the glowing core. She almost wished she could have stayed there for a while. The rune was warm in her hands. She looked at it and saw the infinity symbol glowing bright. She assumed that was a good sign. Some time later she shot out of the ground and reoriented herself, floating in midair. She didn't take the time to figure out where she was. She figured she was on the other side of the world, but instead flew up into the chaotic clouds. With her newfound power, she waved her hands and quieted the lightning. The storm died down a little, the lightning becoming bottled up power waiting to explode. Astrid felt weak. Some of her control slipped, but she managed to hold on. Josh had begun to leech off her.